Welcome back to Bibliophiles Audiophiles. Today we're doing the letter T in the ABC challenge. So we are going with 1,000 Heartbeats by Kierra Cass. It is available to listen to for free on Spotify Premium. I don't think it's on Kindle Unlimited.
It is on KU. Paperback is $9.54.
Ew.
It's originally apparently $15.99, but it's on sale right now.
Oh, so if you listen to this, if it's still on sale, you're gonna have to go get it. Okay, the description is love has a sound. It sounds like 1,000 heartbeats happening at the same time. Princess Annika has lived a life of comfort, but no amount of luxuries can change the fact that her life isn't her own to control. The king, once her loving father, has gone cold, and Annika will soon be forced into a loveless marriage for political gain. Miles away, small comforts are few and far between for Lennox. He has devoted his life to the Duranian?
Yes.
Okay, Duranian army, hoping to one day help them reclaim the throne that was stolen from them. For Lennox, the idea of love is merely a distraction. Nothing will stand in the way of fighting for his people. But when love, against all odds, finds them both, they are bound by its call. They can't possibly be together. But the irresistible thrum of 1,000 heartbeats won't let them stay apart. Kierra Cass brings her signature sparkling romance to this beautiful story of star-crossed lovers and long-held secrets. The content warnings are death of a parent, death, violence, emotional abuse, war, animal death, murder, injury/injury detail, and child abuse.
So Storygraph's average rating is 3.77.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 star that I have is really, really long, but I am going to paraphrase it, kind of, just from what I'm seeing. So this person DNF'd it at 65%. She really wanted to like it because the premise sounded right up her alley, but the execution was just plain terrible. The book dragged for the first third, then it suddenly was like the author remembered this was supposed to be romance and came up with whatever. There's like a whole bunch of spoilers in it. None of the character decisions or feelings made sense. Annika's fiance showed so many red flags for being abusive, controlling. I never got the sense that the world was populated at all, and the setting was poorly drawn to the point of barely existing, even just a throwaway line about something that is a spoiler. The author failed to provide even the barest hint of detail till moments before it became relevant to the plot. Likewise, where were the other countries and what was their role in the big shenanigans going on in Darrain and whatever it was called? No idea. It felt like viewing the world through a spotlight that focused on Annika and Lennox only, which ultimately made the whole story boring and pretty low stakes for me as the reader.
Is that not what romance books do?
I think so.
That's what, I mean, I don't want to be reading about her third cousin at a bachelorette party if it's a
Yeah.
romance about. Sorry, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
No, yeah. I mean, it hurts me because this is my favorite author, or one of them, but still. The story world felt empty. There were secondary characters, but their existence primarily revolved around the main characters and how they interacted with their lives. Again, same thing. That's the whole point of romance. It revolves around the two
Exactly.
characters.
Exactly.
We're just gonna skip to
That's why
like
they're
her
main characters.
we're going to skip to her final verdict. Not a fan. She enjoyed the selection series well enough, but given what she learned recently about authors' religious views, which has nothing to do with the book, let me
Oh my
just say that right
gosh.
there. I'm not surprised that we don't see eye to eye when it comes to what makes a story interesting. The lack of nuance and inability to understand what makes people tick or to allow the characters to be genuinely flawed and deal with the consequences of their actions make their writing a no-go for me. Will not be picking up one of their books again. I'm hurt.
So it's so mean. About her personal religious views?
Yes, I don't know what her personal religious views
Yeah,
are,
because
but
when you're reading a
that
book, that shouldn't matter.
no, it really shouldn't.
Unless the book is specifically all about that religion, then
Yeah.
you shouldn't care. I'm sorry, people. Oh my
You
gosh, people are so
gotta,
mean.
that's the one thing I hate is like people don't separate the art from the person because you can appreciate the art without liking the person.
Exactly.
But anyways, let's be a little bit more positive with a 5 star review. I am simply never being the just a girl allegations. This was an amazing standalone, silly little romance. I wouldn't say that this is fantasy, but it is set in sort of a medieval setting. The plot outside of the relationship has some whole like, why did no one suggest that Marie would fix everything in the castle was too easy to get into? The side characters are great. Thistle was criminal. I love how people were upset that running a country is mostly paperwork. The relationship is stellar, and I love that they both give up the other for their people. I fear I need him. It's so beautiful, and I love it in them. I did also enjoy the chapters from an outside third perspective. I thought it was nice and loved the narrator.
Mhm.
On Goodreads, the average rating is a 3.91. I try to go for ratings that have a little bit more substance to them, but I really liked this one because it was funny. But this one star says sillier than the silliest silly in the entire universe. So they
Mhm.
thought it was silly. That's all they said.
Honestly, Blippi has ruined the word silly for me because every time I hear silly, I hear that's so silly.
Don't silly. This 5-star review though on Goodreads says, I enjoyed reading this story. I quite literally couldn't put it down. There's action, romance, and adventure. I was sucked in by the pages at night and finished reading as the sun came up. An enemies to lovers between two people who can't be together, but the moment that they have will make your heart race. How can someone fall in love and be heartbroken in the same moment? And then in quotes, love has a sound. It sounds like 1,000 heartbeats happening at the same time.
I've never heard that quote before.
You haven't?
No.
Girl. We'll
No,
we'll
that
talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
no, when I read the description, that is the first thing in it is that quote. Love
Before
has a
reading the
sound.
description, you've
It sounds like a
never.
thousand heartbeats happening at the same time.
We're gonna talk about that
No,
later.
no, 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 no. I'm being sarcastic, saying that the girl
Oh,
quoted the
oh,
most popular
okay.
review. Not review.
Never mind.
Quote.
Ignore me. I'm gonna go hide. Bye.
Bye, girl. Bye.
Amazon's rating is a 4.4 out of 5. I noticed though that there is like some keywords that people mentioned, and a
Hmm.
lot of people liked the book, but they did not like the pacing,
Hmm.
apparently. So the 1 star I picked says predictable with unresolved endings. The ending was predictable and obvious to anyone except the characters themselves. The ending didn't give resolutions to the outcomes of the fates of the other characters captured in the end. It's like the author built up these characters only to forget about their endings and slash mark them as insignificant, but readers need closure in all areas, ideally. 5 star says, I enjoyed this book so much. She created a world and I feel like I could envision it. I love the characters, I love their growth and their ability to change, and their love was such a key to that. I love the twists and turns and the loyalty people have to Annika because of her kindness and goodness. Great read. And
Tee.
that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote
And now it's time for a man,
for the man of the hour,
the man of every hour.
James.
James.
There's some spoilers coming up, sweetie. You better cover your ears.
Okay, my first note is wow, this book said gore main theme because it immediately jumped into like I think it was like people dying. It's been a minute. I think it was like people dying and like her father pushed her into a table and she had like a cut on her leg, like a really bad cut.
Yeah,
It was just like immediately jumped into that.
which I kind of like when it kind of just jumps right into like the action like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that kind of like, get you a little hooked in
Get you
there.
hooked. Yeah, exactly.
My first note set is for reading Kierra Cass again. And since I listened to this with Spotify, the voice actors for this book were really good.
Hmm.
I really, really liked them.
Hmm.
And so much so, and because this book, I honestly, like, spoiler alert, I really, really loved it. This book actually did have me in a chokehold.
It did, yeah. See, I don't know when I started it, when I finished it. I started it August 14th and I finished it August 18th. Ugh, so it took me like 4 days to read, probably technically three, honestly. But
1,000. I'm gonna look to see what I have. I started it September 29th and finished it October 11th. So it took me a minute,
yeah,
but I did really, really
I
like
think
it.
you had a lot going on at the time that we were
Um,
doing this one.
yeah, because I got into that. I had that lady rear end me when I was in the middle of the sirens, so
Yeah,
that, and then I also went on a road trip
man.
around
Since
that
the last
time.
time we recorded, not like last night, but the time before that, you've had a wreck since then. So
Yeah. Yeah, I am not having really good luck with cars lately,
I know, that's so
and
sad.
it's awful. Anyways, I have a quote if you're interested.
Okay,
I
always.
wrote I wrote the page number for whatever reason.
Oh, just in case.
It's on page 46. It's said by Rhett.
I
The
know what you're
quote
talking about.
is the quote is his posture is remarkable. If you ever need to measure anything, he'd be an excellent stick.
Oh my gosh, that's not the one I was thinking about. It's really funny though.
Yeah, it made me cackle because and he being Nicholas is who he's describing as having like really good posture. He's pretty
Hmm.
much just saying like he is so stiff that it's
Stiff.
like he's got a stick
Yeah.
up his or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to say, but okay.
yeah.
Um,
No, don't say it
oops.
again. That's more I gotta put the whoops in for. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so
Um,
the female character is being forced to marry by her father for
yep.
political reasons, but she's like being forced to like marry her cousin.
Yeah.
It's like Nicholas. Yeah, Nicholas is her cousin slash fiance. And then he's like mean. He's like
He
telling her, you
is.
can and can't do this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's actually one of my next notes is another quote. I didn't put the page number this time, but
Oh no, you're slacking.
it's one that Nicholas said. I thought we talked about this. Why isn't your hair pinned up?
Yes.
And that made my stomach turn.
It
I'm
did
like,
me too. I was
I
like,
don't
what
know
the?
why. Like that's not even like something that's like I don't know, maybe it's the
Yeah,
voice actor's like tone when he said it, when it made my stomach like oh, I didn't like it at all. I hated
I
it so
know.
much. I
Because
was
he
like,
was
oh, I
like,
don't like you.
she said that she couldn't wear her hair down, which is like a great source of pride for her because like her and her mother always wore their hair down, and like her
Yep.
mother's dead.
Yep.
And he said that's not what older women do. The older women put their hair up. And I'm
Yep.
like, who are you?
Yeah. You're not the princess.
I
Like,
know, I am. Step off. First thing about Rhett, the librarian, was how he had like professed his love to her and was like, "We can run away." He's like, "I'll keep you safe." And then she was like, "Oh, that's super sweet." No, and I just thought it was really funny.
oh, that's so nice.
Hmm.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. He's just like, "No, no, it's my responsibility.
What did
Sorry."
what was your first like reaction towards Rhett?
At first, I thought he was like not really like as bad as Nicholas, but not really great either, because he was just like, "But I love you," and you know how sometimes guys can be like flirting with you and like you don't reciprocate, and they're just kind of like they get a little bit mad about it. I kind of feel like he was gonna do that, and I'm really glad he didn't. He was literally like, "Okay, well, I think later on he was like, if the one thing you want me to do is protect this library because it's your safe place. If protecting the library is the only way that I can love you, I'll guard it with my life." And I was just like, oh no.
That's actually really sweet.
I know. Because she's like, that's my only like safe spot. She's like, I need you to stay here and keep it safe. And then he was like, if that's my only act of love for you, I'll do it.
That's really sweet.
I know.
He
And
seemed
then,
like okay.
then I kind of got mad at her because I'm like, you have this guy.
You have this guy and he's great.
He's protecting the books. Why can't you love him?
Because that's not who she's meant to be in love with.
I know. She's supposed to be in love with Lennox.
Lennox. Speaking of Lennox,
Hmm.
it was really sweet that Lennox let Griffin stay behind because of his girlfriend or something.
Hmm.
When they were going out on their little mission, he
Yeah,
like
their
said,
excursion.
"No, you stay behind." And I was just really hoping at that moment that it wasn't going to bite him in the butt by making him stay because the king is the one that decided who was going to be in his little group.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm really hoping that like him not taking him is not gonna cause any big issues.
Hmm.
But it was really sweet that he did that.
Yeah, because her kingdom stole his kingdom and then like renamed it and everything, and he was just trying to get it back, right?
Yeah, and he realized later on, this is like much, much later on, that one of the reasons why this like is the whole thing that's happening is because her kingdom doesn't have like a written history of what
Hmm.
happened, or if they do, it's like under
Not
lock
right.
and key.
Yeah.
Or it's not right. Like it's just like they don't have like actual this is what actually happened because
Yeah.
his kingdom's the one that was there, but they took it over and just pretty much said you don't exist anymore. This never was a
Hmm.
thing. We've always been here, blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like what you're saying is lies, even though you have history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So I actually wrote a note about that. So I said Vasanos Castle not having a written history is alarming because lots of things can get lost in translation. But Vasanos had accurate history, so maybe it was a lesson. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I have to think about what I wrote.
Yeah, wasn't he like telling her like look at the history, look at the history? And then he like kidnapped her. And I'm like, well, she can't look at the history if you kidnap her. Like,
He didn't kidnap her.
yeah. Somebody kidnapped her because she like escaped because I remember she got down to like her underwear and climbed through a window.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
That wasn't Lennox. Or Lennox's people.
No, that was Lennox. Because, like, she and Nicholas were going and riding around on the horses for their little,
Yeah.
like, engagement tour. And then they met up at the border. And then they fought Nicholas, left him, passed out, and they took her. And then
He kidnapped her. That's what kidnapping is.
I know that. But he didn't tell her during that trip to look at the history.
No, no, but oh, that was before they even met. Okay, never mind. Because I remember later he was like telling her like look at the history books, and because she actually did try to find like the history books to kind of figure out like what he was talking about.
Yeah. And there was, like, a section of the library that was, like, under lock and key.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nobody could get to, even the princess, you know. And then she got like down her underwear and like snuck out the window.
Speaking of, that moment made me really think that Annika was like a baddie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was getting there.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be her. That could be any princess. I want to be her.
Be her getting down on my skivvies and climbing out the back window. Mm-hmm.
Oh, which, speaking of the kidnapping, right? With that scene, right? So, did they leave him passed out?
Yeah, I don't remember. This was August. We're recording in
Okay,
February.
so I think he did leave her passed out. They did leave him like passed out on the ground. But when they approached and they started attacking them, Nicholas just turned around and just left. Didn't even look back at her.
Yeah. No, he was
And
just like, bye.
And he mentions later that he really liked her and she was like attracted to her and wanted to,
Marry her.
marry her and all that. Blah, blah.
Have your
And
babies.
yeah. And he may be a guy that doesn't know how to show
Affection.
affection, but like if he really loved her, he would have at least looked back.
No, absolutely.
At the very least, he probably shouldn't have. If he really loved her, he wouldn't have run away in the first place. He would have protected her. But he
I
didn't
think to
even do that.
him, it was more like a political game and less of like, this is my cousin. No, gross. We're going to take the cousin part out. Blech. This is my fiance. I love her. I guess considering he grew up with her, blah, 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 gag. But he doesn't actually care about her because he just
Nope.
wanted to have to solidify the bloodline to the kingdom.
Yep.
So what do you think about his mom letting her husband, like his stepdad, treat him like crap, even though technically he has more claim to his kingdom because of like his dead father was like the king.
That mom sucked
I know she really did.
for not like
Setting up
standing
for her
up for her
son.
son, like as he's getting yelled at. Which, speaking of, when his name's Kawan. So Kawan, when he's like shouting at
Oh, Lennox.
Lennox, the one thing I noted with the way the voice actor sounded, and I have a chapter for reference in terms of like him talking, if you're interested in listening to it. But the voice that he used for Kawan when he was yelling at Lennox sounded like Yosemite Sam.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it made me laugh a lot because I started thinking about that. I did think that sending all the royals to the island is very stupid because you need to
Absolutely.
keep one at the palace in case the peace meeting goes south.
Yeah.
Which you knew the peace meeting was going to go south.
But her and Lennox were fighting during a war. And then
Mm-hmm.
they were like on opposite sides, obviously. And so then they had to flee together to a cave because like a sudden storm just
Yep.
came out of nowhere. And like my note was like, they oh wow, they didn't check the radar before battle. Shaking my
Yeah.
head. And then I put nothing like sitting in a cave with your sworn enemy who killed your mother and swapping secrets. Just girly things.
Just girly things.
And then he taught her how to do a ballroom dance because that's what enemies do.
Yeah. They all did all that in the cave.
I know, because like I wrote a lot about the cave, and then my last cave note was they're touching in a cave, alone, in a hurricane. They're in love. What? Thank you. So
I didn't write anything about the cave. That sounds
yeah, I
scary
think
though.
it does. Imagine being in the
The
battle and all of a sudden a
storm.
hurricane. Yeah.
We like practically were almost in one like 2 nights ago.
I know, that was scary. I was like, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was on a three-way call with my mom and my dad because I'm like, I don't know if I should leave.
Because like I mean I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't even know what woke me up. But like it just sounded like like envisioning like what was going on in the book.
hmm
The sound of the rain like hitting my window is exactly how I imagined the sound of the rain during their hurricane they were trapped
hmm
in. Sounded like. But I think I remember reading in the book that like the island is known for like their freak of nature kind of like
Yes, like
weather
weather.
habits.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a dumb place to have a peace meeting if it's meant to be a peace meeting.
Oh, like outside? What?
And then after everything was said and done, she goes out to go find her brother and she finds that her brother got stabbed or something.
Yeah, he got stabbed and like went in a coma because he was the regent, and then her dad also went in a coma. So then she was in charge of the kingdom, and I
Yep.
think her dad died, but her brother
Yep.
woke up, and then he was like, "Wow, I'm awake. Okay, cool." And then he proposed to Naomi, and then
Yep.
they just left, like literally left a letter, left. And so this girl is
Skedaddled.
literally, yeah, like this girl is like literally back to being like Queen Regent, I think is what it's called,
Yep.
because like what? Because like now she's all alone. You know, her dad's dead, her brother's gone. She doesn't have anyone else that understands what she's going through because I don't think
Yep.
Lennox was, allowed.
No, because he was back at his
Yeah, he left a
his
letter. And
palace.
yeah, he left a letter and was like, I'm not coming back until I have an heir. So pretty much we're gonna go have sex until I produce a baby and then we'll be back. So like at least 9 months.
10.
Yeah, at least 10 months. Not to mention like what if she doesn't get pregnant the first time? Like, who does
Yep.
that?
Yep, he just said skedaddle at later.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it's giving? It's giving The Heir by Kierra Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happened with her brother. Because her brother, I'm pretty sure, was the heir to the throne or
Mm-hmm.
something. And then he was just like, I'm leaving. Bye. I found a woman.
I'll
Adios.
see you sometime eventually, maybe.
Sayonara. I just realized that seems to be a trope in her books.
What?
So I've noticed it so in this book, right? Her brother falls in love with the lady's maid.
Yeah.
In the selection, this is a spoiler if you haven't read the selection yet. Oh my goodness, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about. The prince who's
Not
picking
the
all the people.
prince. Not the prince.
Not the prince.
Her I'm thinking it starts with an A. It's not A. I keep thinking his name's Aaron. It's not Aaron.
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read those two.
But anyways, so the boy she was in love with back in her hometown, America, he falls in love with her lady's maid. Anyways, so that's a trope there too, is that he falls in love with the lady's maid. And then technically in The Heir it's the same thing because it's a spoiler for The Heir. It's technically the crown because instead of falling in love with one of the men, she falls in love with the translator.
Yeah.
So like,
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
but like it's a trope. I have another quote.
Okay.
I have another page on that quote too. It's page 230.
Wow.
It's also by Rhett.
Oh.
It is probably now one of my favorite quotes from a book.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard it now twice on this podcast. So here we're going to hear it a third time.
Okay, let's go.
Love has a sound. It sounds like 1,000 heartbeats happening at the same time. It sounds like the rush of a waterfall or the still of daybreak. You can hear it at night, lulling you to sleep, and in the middle of your darkest days, it breaks through like a laugh.
Wow. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard anything that distinguished.
It was a really, really good quote, and it made
No,
me
it
like
really
really,
is.
really like it made my heart like very warm.
Did it make it sound like 1,000 heartbeats?
I think so.
That's how you know it's a good one.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I don't mean to keep making fun, but like, the it's in the description, it's in a review, and then you quoted it again. It is a really good sentence though.
That's a couple sentences, but it's my favorite.
Shh. It's a really good sentence.
Like I really love that. I had to like
Yeah.
write that down like in full. Like
See, to be a young adult author, like I'm assuming it's young adult, like teenager-ish, because like she doesn't really write anything smutty that I know of yet.
no,
Like all
she
the books
doesn't
that I've read are like, yeah, they're like very like sweet and like young adult. To be something that you can't really put a lot of like adult interactions and words in, it's like she does have like a lot of like just profound
Yep.
lessons and like moments in her books that I find really like
She does.
lovely.
In her like selection series, now listen, like I don't annotate or
Yes.
bookmark
Yeah.
anything in books usually. I mean, the only time I like take notes is like for the podcast, but like usually I
Yeah.
don't. But like her selection series books, I have like those annotation tabs
Yeah.
on different pages of like my favorite parts in her books. And one of them is obviously going to be like in like the one when Maxon's just like there and he's like dying and he's just like, break my heart, break it 1,000 times. It's only ever yours to break. And it makes my heart
Oh, I
sing
know.
every single time I hear it.
I know. Oh my gosh, she's such a good author.
She really is. I hope we meet her one day.
Oh my gosh, imagine if we could interview her. Oh,
I would love that.
I think you would cry, and you don't cry.
I probably would. I'm not gonna lie.
That would be awesome. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Okay, anyways, back to this book. This one.
back to this.
So Lennox's stepdad was all, mad. He was not just a chill guy and stabbed his mom in the stomach. Like Lennox's mom, his wife, stabbed his wife in the stomach whenever he realized he was losing the battle to get the castle back. And I think it was because he was mad. I don't think there was really anything like deep into it. I think he was just like, well, this sucks. Let me go kill somebody. And she was there, whatever. I wrote down
I
that
thought
he
it
did
was
that.
more of like a dig towards Lennox because he's just like,
I
I know
think
how I can hurt
so.
you. Ugh.
I think so. I mean, you're fighting on the right on the same side. But I think it was because the stepdad was like, I'm going to get the crown because I'm your dad. And Lennox was like of age. So that was not at all what was going to happen. But anyways, I put if only someone had suggested marriage counseling or something.
For real.
I wonder if they had marriage. Was this book based in Scotland? I don't know if you know that. Those are our early questions.
I don't know.
It felt very like English, Scottish, kind of. Probably because it has a castle and princesses, but
I have to look at a map of what this whole country looks like
yeah.
because maybe that might clue into something.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a
What's
note
your
that's
next
written
note?
in all caps.
What is it?
They fell in love because he gave her an apple and he said that she was the prettiest girl in the world.
Honestly, if a guy gave me an apple and said I was the prettiest girl in the world, I would also fall in love.
Honestly, me too.
Like, that's the kind of like affirmations I long for in my life. Just for someone like to randomly, like even just like every day at the grocery store, if they're just like, "Oh, you look so nice today." Like that. Oh my gosh, those moments in my life are like
That's how I
I've
feel
been
when
needing
like
that.
people like comment on my nails or my hair. Like there was this one person at work. My hair was kind of just like I really didn't do anything with my hair. Like I woke up and just went to work.
Yeah.
Like I might have like used my fingers to like scruff
Finger
through it or
brush it.
something
Yeah.
just to make it look not like I rolled out of bed, but it was what it is. And this person came up to me and they're like, "I really like your waves." And I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you."
That's so sweet.
But yeah, they were like 11 at the time or something.
Hmm.
And he goes up to her and has an apple and he's like, "This is for the prettiest girl in the world."
Yeah, so sweet.
And
Yeah,
that's
because they
when
had
like she
met
fell
as
in love
children. Yeah.
and he fell in love with her.
And now they're both orphans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was the thing about it? There was like some moment that they had at some point in time where they realized like who the other person was.
Yeah.
Was that in the cave or was it afterwards?
I think it was afterwards.
Whenever it was, and they were just like, "This is my true love."
Yeah, I think it was a lot afterwards because I had several notes in between there.
Hmm.
So I think it was like later. And they were like, oh my gosh, all the stuff that we've been through. And
Yep.
like, you're that kid, you know?
It's you,
It's you, not me, not
not Hermione.
Hermione. Yo.
You. Inigo realizing that Lennox loves Annika from the second he lays eyes on her. Like, not even like post like kidnapping or anything. This is like when they met in the woods
Yeah, yeah,
on horseback when
yeah.
they left Nicholas there. Like, he apparently Lennox looked at Annika, and Inigo looked at Lennox and was just like, he's in love. So he
Hmm.
knew from like the beginning that he was in love with her. And they didn't even know.
Man,
My last note is really like nothing. It's just that I got really giddy listening to this, and I don't really get
yeah.
giddy that often
I
listening to books.
know, I know. Man, I remember you talking about this one because like we're not allowed to talk about it. Like it's just self-rule. We can't talk
Yep.
about it till recording. And I
Yep.
remember you being like so excited for me to get this one and read it. Like anything about Kierra Cass, you're just like, you're gonna love it.
Really love Kierra Cass. Like I
I know.
really do. And this like really like made me remember like how much I love her books.
Hmm.
And this is like the I was gonna say this is the last book I've ever like from all of her books that I read, but that's not true because the last book I read by her was The Betrayed.
Yeah,
And that was like when I finished every single book that she has ever written.
yeah.
But anyways, you have a note on the epilogue.
I do. It's my final one. The
Ooh.
epilogue was so cute because they're married and they had a baby and it's their heir. Did the brother ever come back or no? Because I never made a note
Yes,
about. He did.
he
Okay, because
did.
I'm sitting here and thinking, I'm like, I don't remember if he came back.
He did. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he did come
Yeah,
back.
man, they're gonna fill that castle up with babies again.
It'll be
That's
booming with babies.
that's the way the cookie crumbles.
That is the way the cookie crumbles. Because it's in a
But-
toddler's fist.
oh, I know, right? That is my last note, though. Do you have any more?
Nope,
Oh, so we're ready for buzzwords.
we are.
Okay. Do you want to go first, madame?
Do you want the rating or the buzzword?
Well, every time you ask me this, I immediately forget. Okay, so since we've been working on the website today, we have the buzzwords first and then the rating. So what if we
Okay.
just started following that? Like we did the
Yeah, because then
buzzwords
like
and
we
then the
can
rating.
kind of like tease what our rating is with the buzzwords.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so my buzzwords are chokehold, Kierra Cass forever, and book trophy.
Yes. I love how the Kierra Cass Forever should be on a t-shirt if you ever went to a meet and greet, like a One
Oh,
Direction fan thing.
I might make that.
That would be
I
so
do have
funny.
a Cricut. I could make that.
Oh, you could. You know a quote you could put on a shirt?
Love has a sound. That long
And
paragraph that I
yeah,
read.
that long paragraph, honestly, that'd be cute. Especially if it had like a crown or something or a heart or whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
my buzzwords were strong woman because I feel like she really came into power in this
She
book.
was.
And
Yes.
then I love the author and happily ever after.
Oh,
What was your rating?
a 5 out of 5.
Oh, no way. Me too.
Of
I
course
also
you
gave it
did.
5 out of 5. Shut up, Alyssa.
This like
Twinsies, and you're just like, oh well,
this is a
that's
big deal
easy.
to me. I really loved this book.
I know. Yeah, you don't really rate 5 out of 5 very often.
I really don't.
Meanwhile, I'm over here.
Like giving them out like singles at a strip bar.
And yeah, just going out ahead and $1 bills and people's G-strings. Well, that was it for today's episode. If you'd like to contact us, we have an email at biblioaudiopod@gmail.com.
Yep.
And we're toying, I don't know if you want to mention this, I may cut it out if you want me to. We were toying with the idea of having a author call to see if we could find any authors that would like to sign up because we are itching to do another author interview.
We really
So
are.
if you are an author or if you know an author, we have our link tree on Instagram, which is Biblio Audio Podcast. If you go to our link tree and go all the way to the bottom, you'll see something that says book rec. That's the form that you can fill out to either recommend a book, or if you are an author or know an author, just put your information there. We'd love to have a little interview, little meet and greet over Zoom. Unfortunately, we can't do anything in person yet, but maybe one day.
Or you could also, if you go to the Bibliophiles Audiophiles website, which is biblioaudiopod.com, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the homepage, and there is a link for you to access that form there too.
Yeah, we
for
would
book recommendations and
love. Yeah, any author
other stuff.
recommendations, book recommendations, interview recommendations, definitely let us know. And you'll hear us in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.